Okay, we're in section 17. Just to, excuse me. We're just going through this optional material about how to use a computer algebra system. And the computer algebra system that I'm recommending is Sage. Big reason is it's free and it's widely used throughout the world. I can't imagine a university not having a group of people using Sage. All right. So one of my claims is over here. The problem with using open source software is that for some students, it may be difficult to install, particularly if you're using something like a Chromebook. It's going to be really tough to install. Here's the deal, though. There is a website, and that's the SageMath website. You can click on this over here, and it'll bring you to that website where you're allowed to use what's called an online version of Sage. The problem with using the online version of Sage is that you're using somebody else's computer to do the computation. And that's a problem with the web, all right? Not only are they collecting data about you, but the bottom line is they're not going to give you full service, all right? That's why I use the software installed on my computer. So although I could go to this website, which we've done in the past many, many, many times, I'm going to be using software to do this on my computer. So I'm going to go to my computer software, and I'm running it from a terminal. I'll type in these commands for you. And again, we'll relate to what was discussed in the notes in a moment. So this says reset. Basically, what does it do? Gives me a clean sheet of paper, so to speak. I'm going to say X is a variable, and I'm defining a variable. This is what's called coding. And again, coding is something that you probably should become familiar with. You may hate it, but the bottom line is you should become familiar with it to have some appreciation. Now, certainly, someone says, what are you typing in here? Well, I'm typing in what I see, of course. So I'm going to say it's the quantity 2/3 plus 3/2. Now, I could certainly do that by hand. Now, they want to divide it by the quantity 2/3 minus 3/2. All right. Let me hit return. And it says minus 13/5. I want to scroll back over the notes, though. And again, the reason for that is I want to see how it relates to what we've been doing. All right. So I'm scroll back over, and I'm looking for the answer minus 13/5. It's right here. So it's problem number 1. So I had to say, when I type that in, it certainly looks different. All right. What I want to do, though, is I want to also talk about another application. And this is also web-based, and it's Wolfram Alpha. And if I were to type that into Wolfram Alpha, certainly, what do I notice right away? It displays the answer immediately. Right. But what I want to do is hit the return. So all I did was a copy paste, return. Let's see what happens. And I want to see how it typesets it. And one thing I like about Wolfram Alpha, it's web-based, no software to install. It will actually typeset the problem for me. And has it typeset it? Well, it typesets it just like I have in my notes. All right. It also puts the answer down. It also puts a decimal form of the answer down. It also gives a visualization of where the answer is. Right. It gives a visualization of where that answer is on a number line. Now, granted, there might be other things over here. You don't understand. For example, things about continued fractions, the Egyptian fraction expansion. I would not worry about this. What I would worry about is, are you willing to try to use software to have a fuller appreciation of what's being presented to you? All right. Let me go back, and I'm going to go back to my Sage. Let me just go scroll through that for you. And I'm going to do this one over here. And again, I'm going to relate it back to the notes and to Wolfram Alpha. Whoops. So I just did copy, paste, return, and it says minus X over X plus 7. All right, let me just go back to the notes, and I'm going to look for that answer, minus X over X plus 7. And again, I don't enjoy scrolling back over the notes, by the way. But I'm wondering, what does it relate to? Gee, I don't think I see it. Let me keep going through it. You know what? I do see it. And I'll tell you why I see it. I see they have the letter A, but I have the letter X. So I'm going to see if I can do this with the letter A now. So I'll say A, variable, that's VAR, it's an abbreviation, A. And I'm going to type that above thing in again. So it's going to be not X minus 7, it's A minus 7. Right, that's the top, divided by the bottom. And what's the bottom? 49 divided by A minus A. Now, whoops, I'm sorry. If I just hit return of your, I'm put it, just spits it back because it says, what do you want me to do with that? Well, what I want to do with it, I'm going to try to force it to do something. So I'm going to say factor it. And so what does this mean? They're looking for some common factors between top and bottom. Now, it might be complicated. We've certainly done this in class. Now, we really didn't factor it officially. What we did was we multiplied what was called the minor LCD. But I'm going to ask Sage to factor that and see what happens. And what does it return to me? Minus A over A plus 7. Now, what I want to do is I want to copy this. I want to go to Wolfram Alpha now. I'm going to copy paste, get rid of this. It's just blinking, it's working. It typesets it the way I want it to be typeset, the way I see it over here. It gives me some information which is very confusing to a lot of students. Listen, if information confuses you, don't listen to that information. Keep scrolling around and you'll see an alternative form of it. And what does it say? It says minus A over A plus 7, but it does give additional information. It says A can't be 7. All right, now someone says, why is that? That would be a division by 0. Now it gives other forms of it. I would not worry about that. If you want to look at it, you could and try to make sense out of it. But the bottom line is, what are you trying to do? Learn to use software. All right, let me go back to Sage again. Scroll through my notes. And looking at this stuff over here, I want to point out it's really very similar problems that we have in the notes. The problem with Sage, though, I'll be honest with you, it's a little hard to type things in sometimes. So what I'm going to do is just scroll back in the notes, look for X minus 9. Wow, right there. What is it? It's the problem typed in. All right. Let me go back to Wolfram Alpha. And I'm going to just do this. But when I say Wolfram Alpha, it's a website, and the website's wolframalpha.com. All right. Let me do this. And again, I want to show you, it typesets it. Now, it might look weird to you, but it's the same thing I got over here, right? 1 minus 8 over x minus 9 over x squared, 1 plus 6 over x plus 5 over x squared. Again, it may give information over here that you're not understanding at this point. That's fine. The alternative form, well, that's what I got, x minus 9 over x plus 5. And it goes on to say, provide that x is not 0 and x is not minus 1. You may wonder what it is. It's that division by 0 nightmare again. All right, so let's keep going back. Related Sage. Let me do this last one over here. And again, I'm going to go back to using both Wolfram Alpha and Sage. This is Sage, and it gives me the answer over there. Again, I just want to scroll back over the notes. And I want to see if the x minus 1 over x plus 4. I'm just scrolling back over this, looking for the answer. I see it right here. Again, it may not be the same problem, but I'm going to look at it and see if it is. And what do I notice? It does look like the same problem, but it may be hard for students to read that. So what I'm going to do is just simply copy this part of it, go to Wolfram Alpha, and type it in and see how it typesets it. Again, little blinky lights there, pretending it's working. Well, x minus 2, and I am seeing it. I'm seeing exactly what they have over here. Again, you may look at what they're giving you over here and say, why are they doing that? Why are they trying to confuse me? They're not trying to confuse you. They're trying to give you information. Now, that information may be of no use to you, but they give you alternate form. And the alternate form is x minus 1 over x plus 4, provided x is not equal to minus 5 halves. Again, why would they do that? Minus 5 halves is a problem for this problem over here. I'll tell you why it's a problem. It's a division by 0, and that's a problem. All right. So, the bottom line over here is, I would not be overly concerned with all the options you're given, but start thinking about that. Start thinking about what these options may lead to, all right, including total confusion. It's nice to have options, though, and may your life be blessed with options. All right. Thank you.